In the early years of the Beatles, John Lennon and Paul McCartney frequently collaborated directly when writing songs. They would often work together at Paul's childhood home on Forthlin Road in Allerton, or at John's Aunt Mimi's house on Menlove Avenue. However, as time went on and the band's musical style matured, their songwriting methods shifted. By the late 1960s, John and Paul typically wrote songs separately and only came together later to make final edits and adjustments. Despite who wrote what, all their songs during their time in the Beatles were jointly credited as Lennon-McCartney. There were occasions when either John or Paul would create songs without involving the other, which sometimes caused tension. John admitted feeling hurt when Paul would do this. One instance was Paul's 1968 song, "Why Don't We Do It in the Road," featured on the White Album. The recording sessions for that album were infamously difficult, with the tension even prompting Ringo Starr to temporarily leave the group during the recording of Back in the USSR. Paul came up with the song after witnessing two monkeys mating on a road during their spiritual retreat in Rishikesh, India. He found the straightforwardness of the act inspiring. While working on the White Album, Paul and Ringo recorded the track together. Since John and George Harrison were preoccupied with other songs, the two decided to proceed on their own. In his book, The Lyrics, Paul recalled, "We were mixing in Studio 2 at Abbey Road, which was mainly our studio, and I was growing restless. It was late 10, 11, even midnight. Everyone else had left, but we stayed behind. Only a security guard or someone at the door was around, so Ringo and I quietly went into Studio 3. Just the two of us. I wanted to record something raw and spontaneous, almost like a mantra." Paul and Ringo recorded the track on October 9, 1968, and returned the next day to add more vocals and drums, while John and George were focused on finishing Glass Onion. John later expressed feeling hurt by Paul's decision. In a 1980 Playboy interview, he said, "That was Paul's song. He even went off and recorded it alone. That's how things were at the time. We'd show up and find he'd already made the whole record, him on drums, him on piano." John's comments eventually led to a rebuttal from Paul. After Yoko Ono claimed in an interview that Paul had hurt John more than anyone else, Paul responded, "No one ever talks about the times John hurt me.